Good afternoon. I'm Charles Lejano. This is One News Now. The entry of COVID-19 vaccines in the country is coming into view following Malacanang's approval of advanced payments. Let's get the latest on this from Greg Gregorio. He reports to us live from Antipolo City. Greg, good afternoon. What is the next step for the government?
Charles, the Health Department reveals that a prepayment scheme is already included in the government's negotiation with Pfizer. Just last week, the US-based pharmaceutical company reported that its candidate COVID-19 vaccine showed 95% efficacy in late-stage trials. Pfizer and its German partner BioNTech have already applied for an emergency use authorization, or EUA, for their vaccine. Once authorized by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, Pfizer said the government will pay them $1.95 billion. The amount will be for the distribution of 100 million vaccines, meaning each dose is worth $19.50, or roughly 975 pesos. But the value has to be doubled per individual, as Pfizer reported that 2 doses are needed to achieve the 95% efficacy. Health Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergere confirms prepayment negotiations with the U.S. pharmaceutical company, but Vergere stresses that she cannot provide any specific details on the ongoing talks due to a confidentiality agreement. The official admits, though, that the Philippine government will have to spend more than the estimated value of vaccines. She explains that several factors, such as importation, distribution, and storage, will render additional costs. Meanwhile, the DOH responded to the call of Vice President Leni Robredo to disclose a number per sector and names of those who will be first inoculated. Let's see what Vergere had to say regarding this matter.
Aligned naman tayo. Gusto natin magkaroon ng transparency dito sa gagawin nating pagbabakuna. Kagaya nga ng sabi natin, tayo po ay nandito pa lang sa stage kung saan fina-finalize po natin ang plano.
Charles, the Pfizer is just among the 17 foreign manufacturers that our officials are currently in talks with. The DOH says they will eventually finalize which of these vaccines will be procured by the government. The agency also notes that they will disclose the price and other procurement details once negotiations are finalized.
The news here just keeps getting better. Thanks for that update. Greg Gregorio reporting live from Antipolo City. The country's COVID-19 caseload surpasses 420,000. The DOH on Monday reported nearly 1,800 new infections, pushing the active cases to over 25,800. 50 COVID-19 patients died over the past 24 hours, raising the death toll to over 8,100. Some 386,000, meanwhile, have gotten better from the disease, with 135 new recoveries on Monday. In the U.S., COVID-19 cases have breached the 12 million mark, with fears of even greater spreading ahead of Thanksgiving. A top U.S. health official said inoculations may start as early as mid-December, and vaccines will be shipped within 24 hours upon the emergency approval from the U.S. FDA. The DOH reiterates that there is no approved vaccine yet, following reports that some lawmakers have already been inoculated. Senate President Tito Soto insists that whether this is true or not, there's nothing wrong with it. Mean Los Baños has the report.
Senator Bato de la Rosa was physically present during budget deliberations last Wednesday. In this video, de la Rosa can be seen removing his face mask while walking towards his fellow lawmakers. Later in the day, the senator started experiencing COVID-19 symptoms, so he immediately underwent testing. On Friday, de la Rosa confirmed in a Facebook post that the result of his test came in positive. Following his announcement, Senate President Tito Soto initiated a contact tracing among senators and employees.
Pinacheck ko agad yung CCTV ng mga kung sino-sino mga katabi ni Senator Bato na nakausap or mga nakipagkamayan or whatever or fist bump. Para yung fist bump nila ni General La Peña.
Last weekend, another report emerged that TESDA Director Isidro La Peña also contracted the virus. De La Rosa is the fifth senator to have been infected next to Angara, Pimentel, Revilla, and Zubiri. Meanwhile, Senator Panfilo Lacson and Congressman Martin Romualdez have reportedly been vaccinated. In a radio interview over the weekend, Lacson neither confirmed nor denied the information. Instead, he shared that senators would often exchange stories during breaks from the lengthy budget deliberations. With that, he explained that there's no way to tell which among these stories were true and mere jokes. For its part, the DOH insists that there is no approved COVID-19 vaccine yet in the country.
Naintindihan ho namin na talagang sabik na tayo na magkaroon ng tayo ng ma-receive natin itong vaccine na ito, but this is not the right way to go.
The agency also warns of sanctions against manufacturers and distributors who will sell unregistered vaccines, but sought to seize no violations if lawmakers already underwent vaccination against the virus. The Senate President explained that there are medicines out in the market which are not FDA approved.
Sabihin mo sa DOH, asikasuhin nila yung trabaho nila, huwag nila pakialaman yung mga senador at mga congressman. Ba't ba nakikialaman nyo yung mga senador at mga congressman? Kami pwede makialam sa kanila.
Reporting for News 5, Mean Los Baños, we are One News.
We'll be back with more stories after a quick break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Charles Lejano. The Labor Department issues a suspension of work order at the Skyway extension project in Muntinlupa following the fatal accident last Saturday. Camille Samonte with the story.
This video shows a steel girder falling on passing vehicles along the ongoing Skyway extension project in Muntinlupa City. The incident, which occurred at the East Service Road on Saturday morning, killed at least one and injured 4 other people. Fortunately, 3 motorcycle riders were able to jump off from their vehicles a few seconds before the steel girder fell.
Pagtalon ko, sabay ng pagbagsak ko sa semento, sabay din yung pagbagsak ng bakal sa motor ko. Pag bangon ko, nakita ko na lang na wala na, durog na yung sasakyan ko. Napakabilis po ng pangyayari.
1 taxi and 2 UV drivers who were also able to escape the scene could only watch as their vehicles got crushed.
Sa tingin ko po dapat, bago kami pinahinto nung patrol, dapat sana paalisin nila muna kami at saka nila igalaw yung ikutin yung crane. Hindi. Habang nandoon kami, umikot na yung crane.
However, rider Edison Bakibot died of head trauma. His wife and other victims are calling for justice. Project contractor EEI Corporation is reported to have shouldered Bakibot's medical and burial costs.
Kasi daanan po talaga siya, di ba? Kung tama po, kung may tamang protocol, tamang proseso doon, safety precautions, sana po hindi nangyari yun. Please help me accountable and liable po dun sa responsibility ninyo.
Other victims are also calling for the immediate release of assistance, which the private firm has vowed to provide. Officials from EEI Corporation and project proponent San Miguel Corporation held a meeting with Muntinlupa local government on Monday morning. EEI explained that a crane was being positioned to its next task when it tilted and fell on the steel girder. The operator, an employee of subcontractor Mayon Machineries, is facing raps for reckless imprudence resulting to homicide, multiple physical injury, and damage to property. In Monday's Laging Handa briefing, an occupational safety expert said the project contractor failed to identify the potential hazard to the motorists and passers-by.
At a toolbox meeting, Because every day they need to identify potential hazard in the workplace to make the necessary assessment and necessary control. So in this situation, I believe they were not able to assess the situation on the ground. That's why they were not able to anticipate the hazards that are potentially harmful to our welfare.
The Muntinlupa LGU said EEI should have closed the road and prevented the vehicles from passing when the crane was being moved. The investigation is still ongoing, but LGU assures victims that the companies involved will be held accountable.
Hindi lang basta pwedeng mag-apologize kasi may namatay. Whenever meron silang kakabit na bakal sa itaas, they should have informed the MTMB, yung traffic chief namin, para nakakapag-divert ng roads.
For its part, the Labor Department has issued a work stoppage order against the Skyway Extension Project in Muntinlupa.
Ang pagpapahinto po ng construction,
EEI vows to review its safety protocols to ensure that it will not happen again. For News 5, Camille Samonte, we are One News.
Motor taxis have not resumed operations on Monday as planned. The technical working group says the participants have yet to complete the requirements. To give us details, Gerard de la Peña joins us live from Mandaluyong. Gerard, which particular requirements are we talking about?
Well, Charles, motorcycle taxis are supposed to return to the road starting today, Monday. But regulators said that motorcycle taxi operators have yet to comply with certain requirements. Last Saturday, the technical working group headed by the LTO said that they have already inspected Angkas, one of the study participants, to see if the ride-hailing company is ready to get back on the road. The TWG said that it has yet to show proof of compliance to two requirements. One is for each rider to bring their own thermal scanner and health declaration forms. Another is a proof that Angkas has undertaken background checks on its drivers to see if they have committed offenses or have pending cases. Transportation officials are set to inspect another participant, Joyride, on Monday, while Move It has not notified the TWG yet if it is ready for inspection. The Transportation Department says it recommended the resumption of the motorcycle taxi pilot study to help riders cope with the pandemic. It is also seen to provide more transportation options to commuters. Charles, the pilot run will start here in Metro Manila, and it will commence operations in Cebu and Cagayan de Oro after everything else is settled here in Metro Manila. The pilot run will run for 3 months. The data to be culled from this study will be used by legislators in coming up with policies and legislations for the legalization of motorcycle taxi operations in the country. Charles.
Thank you for that update. That was Gerard de la Peña reporting live from Mandaluyong City. The government's corruption task force will use the sal ends of transportation officials to determine if their assets are disproportionate to their salaries. Justice Secretary Minardo Guevara says the documents are possible indicators of the alleged graft and corruption within the agency. Guevara, who leads the task force, clarifies that it was the DOTR's initiative to submit the sal ends, and that other agencies are not required to do so. Transportation Secretary Art Tugade has ordered his officials to submit their declarations of wealth for 3 years to the so-called mega task force. As for the appointment of resident ombudsmen in certain agencies, Guevara says they are still in talks with the Office of the Ombudsman. The Justice Department has indicted only 8 more suspects in the controversial Maguindanao massacre. In the second wave of complaints, the DOJ dismissed charges against the 40 other individuals who were said to have also been involved. The decision came after a year after the landmark convictions of 28 primary suspects, including masterminds Datu Andal Jr. and Zaldi Ampatuan. Exactly 11 years ago today, 58 people were killed. 32 were members of the media who covered the candidacy filing of Ismael Mangudadatu's camp. This has been dubbed as the single worst case of journalist killing and one of the most brutal scenes of election-related violence in the world. For more updates, visit News 5, the Philippine Star and Business World online. Visit our website, onenews.ph, for more in-depth analysis. And you can also catch One News on the Signal Play app. Register for a free account at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Charles Lejano. We are One News.